everyone. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Carrie, and we're going to be getting started here in a few minutes. We're giving away some prizes today, so be sure that you are present in the chat because you do need to be here to win. Make sure you are telling us where you're watching from right now. I see lots of people from all over the place, so I hope that you are joining us. Sorry, I've got an echo in my ear. I need to pause myself in my other window. Sorry about that. So yes, stay active in the chat because we do have some prizes and a very big one at the very end. So hang out through the whole webinar. We've got the interview with Eric and Kevin, and then we are going to do a Q&A with Kevin and then some prizes. So stay tuned and make sure that you refresh your browser, check your internet speed. Refreshing will usually fix any issues 99% of the time. So hang tight and we will see you guys soon. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. And actually, this evening, we have a lot of people watching from the UK, including Kevin Macpherson, who is actually on location in Ireland. So he is going to be joining us from abroad today. For those of you that do not know me, my name is Carrie Stober. I am the project manager here for Streamline Publishing, and I've been here about 12 years now. I am also the manager of the Plein Salon, as well as most recently the Pastel Today Community Ambassador. In case you're new, Streamline Publishing is the publisher of several art magazines and newsletters. We have art events, conventions, retreats, and we've produced over 700 in-depth art instruction videos. And before we get started, I do have a little housekeeping note for any of you who experience some technical issues. Please refresh your browser or maybe try a different browser. If Chrome isn't working, try Safari. And double check your Wi-Fi connection. We are using some pretty stellar software, so we shouldn't have any communication issues. So if you do experience any of that, refreshing usually fixes that 99% of the time. And then also there will be a replay. So if you are having issues and aren't able to watch us live, you will get a replay of this in your inbox later today. I do like to give things away. Eric knows this about me. So type in the chat where you're watching from, and I'm going to select a couple of winners. If I call your name, please type "I'm here" in the chat, and then we're going to pop an email up on screen so you can email me and I can get you your prize. The first thing I want to give away today is easel brush clip, which I actually have handy dandy right here. This clips onto your little easel, or your big easel, I guess, too. This is something Eric created, and it clips right on there. It holds your brushes and all those things. I'm a pastel artist, so I don't have brushes, but I do have blenders. And I do have my value specs. So I clip this onto my backing board, and I've always got my little blenders handy. So this is a really great tool to have if you're an artist. It also keeps your brushes from, you don't have to hold them all in your hand and they're not falling on the ground. So great tool to have. And the one thing I'm going to give away, the winner of the easel brush clip is going to be Catherine Farrell from Ellicott City. Catherine, you are the proud owner of a new easel brush clip. Type "I'm here" in the chat, and then make sure you send me an email so I can get your address and get this sent to you. Like I said, I also keep my value specs in there, and the value specs are the other thing that I'm going to give away right now. And these are also a very handy tool created by Eric. They help you see correct values when you're painting. Super helpful, because that's one of the biggest struggles I have is values. And then I also use this as a pastel artist to organize my pastel tray, because I've noticed a lot of times where I think a stick is a certain value, and it turns out when I put these on, they're actually not a certain value. It's very tricky sometimes. So these come in handy a lot. So we are also going to select a winner for these, and that winner is going to be, you guys are typing so fast. That winner is going to be Twyla Hayes from Ohio. Twyla, congratulations. You are now the proud owner of some value specs. Make sure you type "I'm here" in the chat and send me an email at winner@streamlinepublishing.com so that I can get you your value specs. Okay, so the next thing we're moving on to is, you know what? I'll put a link to those in the chat as well. Someone had mentioned that before, so I will put a link to the chat there for you. The last thing I want to give away is a new video course that we've had. It's one of our best sellers for 2024. I am a pastel artist, like I said, and I did not think that I would need to watch this video because it doesn't apply to me. But I did pick up gouache. I've been, experimenting with that recently. And Larry Moore does a demo in gouache in his new video, the creativity course, Finding Your Unique Painting Language. And I thought I'd give it a try. And I am not lying when I say the first 15 minutes alone of this video are phenomenal and apply to any artist, no matter what medium you paint in. So I highly recommend this video for any artist to watch. It's got some really great foundational things that really help you get started. I don't want to give too much away. So anyway, the person who is going to win Larry Moore's new creativity course is going to be Nicole O'Brien. Nicole, I happened to catch your name before everything flew by. You are receiving Larry Moore's course. Make sure you type "I'm here" in the chat and send me an email so that I can get you access to your new video. Okay, so we're getting close. Remember to stay on through the entire webinar. We have some great things that we're going to be giving away today, and a really, really big one at the end, which is, drumroll, a ticket to the Plein Convention that is going to be held in Lake Tahoe in Reno. That's a $1,700 ticket. So make sure you stay tuned to the very end of the webinar so that you having a chance to win. Our convention is almost half sold out, and we're not even to 2025 yet. So it takes place in May, and it's such an amazing experience. If you are able to go and able to swing it, I highly recommend going. I love going. And I have to work the whole time. But it's such a fun experience, and it really got me reinvigorated a couple of years ago when we had it in Denver. I don't normally take anything with me because it's hard to travel with pastels. And since I live in Colorado, I took everything with me that year, and totally got me back into plein air painting and just painting in general. It really just revived that for me. So I really recommend it if you're able to go. So we are going to have a Q&A today after the interview with Eric and Kevin, so make sure you stay tuned. If you guys have any questions you want to ask Kevin, make sure to drop them in the chat, and I'll try to catch those as we go through and ask those during our Q&A. So welcome to 5 Steps to Break Free of Creative Ruts with Kevin Macpherson. In addition to being a phenomenal artist, Kevin Macpherson is a gifted writer and published author, as well as a teacher and guest lecturer. His technique is demonstrated on videos, and he has been a producer of a nationwide 13-part series on American Public Television and authored 4 books. He has galleries both nationally and internationally representing his work, and today finds him energized, bringing art and joy to the hearts of underprivileged children, especially in Central America and China, with his foundation, Art Ambassador for a Colorful World. And then most of you probably know Eric Rhoads, but we've had thousands of new people sign up who might not know him. Eric is the founder of Streamline Publishing, the only artist-owned art magazine company. Over 2 decades ago, he became a plein air painter and started Plein Air Magazine, and then later Fine Art Connoisseur Magazine. Today, we also have multiple newsletters, including Inside Art, Pastel Today, Realism Today, Fine Art Today, Plein Air Today, and American Watercolor. Eric is also the host of the Plein Air Convention, as I mentioned, as well as artist retreats like Fall Color Week, which is this year going to be in Monterey, Carmel, California, and the Publishers Invitational in the Adirondacks in New York. And we have a new winter event that's going to be announced soon, which I haven't even heard about. So I'm super excited to learn what that's going to be. And he also hosts our online art conferences, Pastel Live, Realism Live, Watercolor Live, Plein Air Live, and our newest event coming up in March, Acrylic Live. You may have seen Eric on YouTube with his daily art school live show, which he started during the pandemic. Millions have discovered art techniques from the show, and many have even become artists. He does it every weekday on YouTube at noon Eastern time, and you can find that by searching at Art School Live on YouTube. Eric is also passionate about making art. He is a landscape artist and portrait artist who's been painting for almost 3 decades and has work in 3 galleries. If you'd like to follow him on Instagram, his banner is, what do you call that tag, is at Eric Rhoads, and that's RHOADS. So make sure you check him out. When Eric was trying to learn to paint, he had bought some art instruction videos and felt they could be better. So he launched painttube.tv, which now has over 700 art instruction videos from the world's leading masters. It's really awesome. I have been looking at our library recently while working on our fall catalog. And there's some that I wasn't even aware of that I had no idea we did. So I'm pretty excited to watch those older videos too. So check that out if you get a chance. It's painttube.tv. Eric is also the author of 2 best-selling books, one of which is Making More Money Selling Your Art. And he has several art marketing courses on painttube.tv as well, if that's something that you need to start working on with your career. He's been featured in the New York Times, LA Times, Chicago Tribune, Entrepreneur Magazine, Inc. Magazine, Success Magazine, Wall Street Journal, and over 400 newspapers, radio, and TV stations. And without further ado, here's your host, Eric Rhoads.
Wow.
Welcome,
I'm
Eric.
tired. I'm just tired just hearing about all of that. Carrie, I just want to tell you what a great job you're doing. You are a rock star.
Thank you.
I think you're the new me. I think I can retire now and you can take over, and you do such a great job. How about everybody give a thumbs up for Carrie? Good job.
I think I could do 95% of what you do. I don't know that I could do aerial acrobatics in front of 1,000 people.
I don't think I should be doing that anymore either. But I do think you could do 100% of it. So I think you should just take over, and I'll go to Tahiti, or I'll go over to Ireland and hang out with Kevin and his friends over there at Art in the Open. Well, thank you, Carrie, and welcome everybody to 5 Steps to Break Free of the Creative Ruts with Kevin Macpherson. Every time we do one of these special broadcasts, my goal is to over deliver, right? I want to give you more than you expect and hope that you'll walk away with just one little thing can make a difference. I have learned throughout my career that sometimes one tiny little realization changes everything. And so hopefully you'll get a tiny little realization today, or maybe two or three or four or five, or maybe more. Listen carefully when we get Kevin on, and it's going to make a big difference because overcoming creative blocks is really important because, we all stumble into them. Kevin's also going to talk about something he's doing that's new and different, which is pretty cool, which I just recently learned of, and why he's doing it. So hang in there for that. Carrie mentioned my background, and you've probably all heard me bore you with my story. So I'm not going to bore you completely today, but I want to tell you that I struggled learning to paint and draw. When I was a kid, I really wanted to do this, but I just, I couldn't do it. And I finally took some art lessons, and they were horrible experiences, terrible experiences, so terrible that I quit. And then I waited a year or so, and then I thought, well, I'll try again. I took another class and I quit. And I had one instructor tell me, don't even bother. You don't have what it takes. And so I gave up again. I put all my stuff in the basement. And then I couldn't stop thinking about it. So I tried again, and I ended up with the right instructor at the right time who told me the right things. And as a result, I've devoted my entire life to helping people learn to paint. We literally have taught millions of people to paint now. And it's so gratifying. After I started my show during COVID, Art School Live, we've had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people email and say things like, I never painted before. I didn't believe I could. I believe you needed talent. And you've taught me that I don't need talent. I just need a process. Those are my words, not theirs. But, and we've had a lot of people who said things like, I wanted to paint when I was, I was painting or I was drawing when I was in high school. And then I wanted to become an artist. And my dad or my mom told me I had to become, get a real job. And then I did that, and I got stuck, and I had a family, and, I've been devoting my entire life to my family. And then I saw this and I thought, I'm going to try it one more time. And now they're back painting. That is the most gratifying thing that you can tell me, that you're back painting and that we're helping you in some way. So, my goal is to help you guys avoid pain, right? And to avoid the frustration and pain that I went through. Now, we all have to go through frustration and pain to grow. That's part of it. But the reason we're here today is because I hear a lot of I see a lot of patterns, and the things I hear a lot about are, how do I get unstuck? How do I get out of a creative rut? And the reality is, if you're not feeling it, if you're uninspired, it's going to reflect in your paintings, and that's going to come across, and you don't want that. So the harsh reality is that most of the thousands of people who are watching here today could be brilliant painters, but never will be, because they don't understand the importance of how to break out of a rut and how to push yourself to a higher level. So we're going to hopefully change that for you today. Are you okay to that? Anybody, go into the comments. Anybody want to break out of the rut? Go in there and just, yeah, I want to break out of my rut. Okay, good. So no matter what we present today, some of you are still going to ignore what we say, even though it's proven to work. So just don't ignore it. Just do it. Just do what we say. You're going to be so much happier. And here's a little secret. You have got to want it. You've got to want it, right? If you don't want it, you're not going to pay attention. But if you want it, you want to be sick enough of being not good enough. I went through years of frustration and not being good enough and not doing anything about it. I just kept painting and telling myself I could power through. And then a couple of things that I decided to do changed everything. And so then I got to the next level, and then I got stuck again. And then I kind of did the same thing. And then I got to the next level, and so on. So that's kind of what we have to do here. So how many people here, go into the comments? Are you sick of being stuck, or sick of being in a rut, or sick of wanting to get to the next level, not knowing how? I think we'll help you today. I hope we will. Anyway, you should know that if you are one of these people who doesn't feel like you're going fast enough, or like you're getting far enough, it's not your fault. It's our society's fault, because our society wrongly believes that artists are born with talent. And if you're ever telling yourself, I just don't have what it takes, I don't have the talent, it's simply not true. It is true that you do have the talent. You've just got to pull it out. And the reality is that talent is all about just doing it, just getting out there, learning from the best, studying with the best, learning how they do it, modeling what they do, and doing it. Technique alone, though, isn't enough. You need instruction, you need practice, but you also need to understand how to get out of creative ruts. Now, you've all heard the term practice makes perfect, but it's not true. How many artists have we known, and how many artists do you know that have practiced and practiced and practiced and practiced for years, but they're not getting any better? See, practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes permanence. Whatever you're practicing makes permanence. If you develop a bad golf swing and you practice a bad golf swing, you're going to have that bad golf swing for a long time. So you have to model the best. You have to model the people who have gone through all the problems, who know what the problems are and how they're going to get out of them. So perfect practice makes perfect. That's why we want to model the best. So your life can look a lot different than it does now if you're frustrated, right? What would your dream scenario be as an artist? Would it be to travel the world and paint? That's what I love to do. Would it be to see your work hanging up in a major gallery or a major museum or permanent collection or something like that? I think that'd be pretty cool. Would you want to make all the money that you felt like you needed so you didn't ever have to think about money again? I'm thinking that's always a nice place to be so that you don't have to worry about making ends meet, right? Or would you love to just hear compliments like, real compliments, not like, oh, pretty colors, but real compliments like, wow, that's really a beautiful painting. And that was a transformation moment that I had after I did something. And that was all of a sudden people started complimenting me on my work. Before they were just saying nice things, but they didn't really mean them. But then it was like, who did that painting? Whose is that? That's really good. And then it's like, hey, I did it. And they're like, you did that? And that's the goal. That's where we want to get. So, do you dream? I mean, when I'm painting, sometimes I dream, this painting is so good. Maybe one day it'll go down in history as a great painting, probably won't, but I dream about stuff like that. And maybe you do too. So if you want to overcome issues, today we're going to talk about overcoming issues, help you reach your goals and help you live the life that you dream of. Now that's a tall order. And this is a brief broadcast. It's not going to be 400 years, but we'll do the best we can. So the next hour, we're going to bring on Kevin. We're going to talk about his decades of painting and he's written books and all these awards, but really we're going to talk about what he's going to reveal about some of the things you can improve to get out of your rut, to speed up your growth. And I would suggest get off of email, get off of your text, close the door, hunker down and just pay attention to this, right? Take it seriously because Kevin is taking the time late in the afternoon or evening all the way from Ireland to do this to help you. Okay, so let's make sure that we honor him by paying attention to him. Okay, now we are going to send out a replay of this in case you get blocked or you're watching at work and your boss comes up and you have to hide the fact that you're watching. Sound like a plan? Okay. Now, the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to record this and turn it into a podcast because there's going to be valuable stuff for this for a future Plein Air podcast. So when I say, welcome to the Plein Air podcast, just know that's what I'm doing. And when I say that, thanks for being on the podcast, that doesn't mean this is over. It just means the recorded part of that is over. So hang in there. And remember, at the end, we're going to give away a ticket, at least one ticket, maybe some other things too, to the Plein Air Convention in Lake Tahoe, which is already half sold out. So now we're going to get to Kevin. Kevin is, as Carrie explained, he has lived a life beyond his wildest dreams. He is truly one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. I met Wanda and Kevin probably about 15 years ago, 20 years ago before I started Plein Air Magazine. And they were just so generous. And what can we do to help? And, and Kevin's laughing all the time and he's having fun. He doesn't take himself too seriously. He's just a joy-filled person. And, he's been around, painted in 35 countries or more. His oils his paintings cross international borders. he speaks a language everybody can relate to, and he's going to talk a little bit about language today. So he can teach you a visual language, and it's going to be very helpful. Now, Kevin, as we mentioned, is recognized as one of the most accomplished impressionists and plein air painters. He's disciplined, he's dedicated. It's earned him critical acclaim and success and lots of awards. He's a member of many top organizations and has been recognized for his accomplishments all over the world and his influence all over the world. So today, Kevin is, in case you're joining late and you missed it, Kevin is in Ireland, and he's been painting at the Irish event called Art in the Open, which is a phenomenal event that I want to attend one day. I'm hoping to do that. So, Kevin, welcome.
Hi, Eric. Welcome. And hi to Carrie and Amadine, everybody who helped me get this together. So nice to be here. And yeah, I'm in Ireland right now. So
why aren't you speaking with an Irish accent? That's what I want to know.
Well, my throat is a little raspy.
So he's drinking a Guinness. I'm drinking iced tea. So just know that the longer this goes, the more loose Kevin's going to get.
Exactly. Actually, my buddies, Tony Robinson and Jane, I'm at their house right on the cliff near Rosslare and overlooking southeast towards Wales and England. This is where the ferry boats cross over. So it's a wonderful place to be. So I appreciate them setting me up here, because getting Wi-Fi and having a nice location is perfect. So
it makes a sense. What a beautiful world that we can do this like this now. Hey, before we get into your creative rut solutions and so on, I want to talk to you about a couple things. First off, tell us a little bit about Art in the Open, what that experience has been like. Your first time there?
No, this is my second time. 5 years ago, I came as a judge, and this time I participated with the group, and wonderful. There were about 200 people, and probably from about, I think, 18 or 20 different countries: Latvia, Russia, Belgium, Luxembourg, so many different places, Finland. Wonderful artists, and the camaraderie and just the at ease feeling that someone can come here and join them as a mere beginner or a very professional. There was some amazing artists here. It's one of the really one of the most comfortable events I think I've attended to. And Tony Robinson, the chairman of it and the founder of it, he's out painting along with Jane and Hayo and Jing. They're out there on the cliff right now, still painting. I highly recommend, if you want to come to a foreign place. The weather can be tricky, but it was beautiful. And you could see today, it's so beautiful out here, really a beautiful Irish day.
So, Kevin, you must be very satisfied, because you were there at the founding of the Plein Air Painters of America, when that group first began, which was the kind of the beginning of the modern plein air movement. And now to see what has happened and how the plein air movement has exploded around America, and now on my last podcast when I did the Art in the Open people, they talked about how it's exploding now in Europe and certain parts of Europe more than others. But how exciting to see plein air painting really exploding around the world and people adopting the plein air lifestyle.
It is amazing. The Art in the Open, this is the 17th year. And then I was first invited to go to the Plein Air Painters America show in 1987, 1 year after it started, by Denise Burns. And that truly was the very first and only plein air group and the plein air show that built in something that's, which you've taken to, such a great level of getting so many people involved with it. It is finally exploding. It's amazing.
Well, and it's very gratifying to see people all over the world. And I love the fact, and I know you do too, that, we can kind of go anywhere in the world and find fellow plein air painters that, we can go, they can tell us all the great spots and we can go to. And just to see so many people enjoying the benefits, all the joy of being outdoors, being with friends, seeing color and light the way it really is rather than from a photograph. So would you just talk briefly about that, from the benefit of why you plein air paint versus why Why don't you just paint in the studio all the time?
Yeah, for myself, I think that there's no better way to learn to truly see. And painting is really about seeing. It doesn't matter what medium we use, but it's how we look at stuff and how we interpret and break the code of what we're looking at. And a photograph can be great reference, and the iPhones and the photography today, there's so much information we can get out of those, but I never get the same feeling when I come back after taking thousands of photos on my many trips that I do all the time. I rarely get excited or emotionally attached to those when I come back and look at them. However, if I do 20 paintings, there's a real connection. So it's that one step removed from the direct observation, the dialogue that we have with the subject. And so for me, it's a lot easier to paint from life. It's a lot harder in some ways, but it's a lot easier. It truly makes a reaction to what I'm looking at, and it only kind of self motivates each brush work. Where if I look at a photograph, I just don't have that same feeling.
Yeah. Well, and it's so much fun. It's so gratifying as well. Well, let's talk about creative ruts. I'm really, really curious because you look like the guy who, how many years have you been painting? 100, 200?
45 years.
Have you really?
Mhm.
So do you still have flubs? Do you still get to moments where you just feel like you can't get to the next level?
Actually, when you did the introduction, it reminded me of one of the things that how you said you have to keep on doing it, persistence. And it is true. Years ago, I think it was like 95, I was in Ireland for 8 weeks, and I was having just a very depressed feeling as I was trying to do each painting. I just never felt like I was getting what I hoped for. And it's hard sometimes to really judge, when we are painting them, to look at them objectively right after the fact. So I remember I was just so depressed, and I never been that way before. And then the next painting that I did was my best painting, one of my best paintings I've done in my life. So sometimes you'll go through those long plateaus, and maybe when you're getting the feeling like that, maybe it's because you're pushing to a new direction, perhaps, or something that's about to click with you. At least it was on that. So I still get flubs all the time. So I just painted over one of them today. So I did a couple days ago, one that didn't turn out, and then I use that as a base for another painting. So yeah, that's part of the game. And especially with plein air painting, you have so many factors that you can't control, like working in a studio from a photograph, where you have the time on your side and the lighting, whatever it may be. But outside, here especially, it could be a beautiful day, and then 5 minutes later, it's raining on you. And then you switch that, and 5 minutes it's sunny again, and it's cold. There's so many factors.
So if somebody's watching this right now, before we get into the solutions to creative ruts, if somebody's watching this and they're saying to themselves, Kevin, I just kind of, sometimes I feel like I'm never going to get anywhere. I feel like I'm not only stuck, I feel like I just can't get to be at the level of a great painter like a Kevin Macpherson. What do you say to them?
Well, it depends. If I had the opportunity to look at their work, I could probably see qualities in their work that they may not even fully understand, that might be really something that's great. I'm good at, when I'm teaching, someone could be a beginner or work a long time, and I can see that they're speaking perhaps a language that, let's say that if we were going to compare it to a Bonnard or something, and I say, let's look at his work, because you're speaking in the same type of color and the same type of brushwork, and maybe it would make you understand that how you're speaking in your visual language, that it's valid. And sometimes we just don't, we can't see that ourselves. But I'm pretty good at seeing that in other people's work. And so, seeing, getting to critique, it might be just, maybe their drawing is off, maybe the values are off, maybe they don't understand light, sunlight and shadow the way they need to be. And sometimes it's the one little clue, if you get a critique from someone you respect, that can really just overnight change your painting.
And when there are people who break out, people who you see when you judge competitions that stand out head and shoulders above the rest, what's the difference between a breakout painter and somebody who's doing what everybody's doing? Right now, one of the issues that I think a lot of us suffer with is that, a lot of us are just doing the same green paintings. And
Mhm.
then, you see somebody who's doing something totally different, and then you're like, wow, that really stands out. What are the things that make a painting break out? And then what are the things that I can do? Maybe this is going to be part of breaking out of ruts, but what are the things I can do to kind of figure out how to find out what's really inside of me? How far can I push myself? Because, I think sometimes we want to be too safe.
Yeah, well, I think especially if you are involved in a plein air event, being safe is really, I think, the worst thing you could do. That's the opportunity to really try to push yourself. And if you're in this event and you're hoping you win a competition, for instance, if that's what your goal is in that particular event, if you try something that's safe and you don't win, I think you'll feel disappointed. But if you try something that's extremely difficult, extremely out of your comfort zone, something that you know really challenges you, and you do win, um, that's terrific. And if you don't win, at least you tried your best in a different way, in a challenging way. And you always have to be inspired and challenging yourself. That's the main thing. You can't look at what other people are doing only to the way it motivates you to try something or see something in a different manner. And that's one of the things I think, doing plein air events, going out with other artists, that can kind of challenge you to see something differently. So when you go out and you go out with your friends and let them pick the location, and it may be a location that doesn't inspire you, but it makes you then look, how can I find something in something that I wouldn't normally stop? How can I find a different composition, a different way of seeing? And that's what's, I think, one of the really strong points of getting out of ruts, by painting with other people and sharing the ideas and being open to sharing it, and not in a competitive way, but in kind of in a helping each other.
Yeah, makes sense. So what was the moment that you went from being Kevin Macpherson, average guy, average painter, to being Kevin Macpherson, superstar? Was there like something that clicked? Was there something that you decided to try something different in that vein of what you're discussing?
I'd say, for myself, it's kind of a long road of, kind of just inching it along the way. But probably for myself, painting small paintings, traveling around the world, for instance, way back in the early days of my career, when I was an illustrator, I would take a month or two off away from my advertising illustration job, and I would paint little 6 by 8 inch paintings. So painting smaller, it gave me the opportunity to paint more and varied scenes around the world, for instance, as opposed to trying to paint a large composition that might take you months to do. This way, every day you're approaching a new challenge, a new lighting situation. So I think that was one of my biggest things that led to my growth. And then at the same time, by painting small, you can make your paintings affordable and have many of them to build your client base. And I think it's just a matter of, I don't think I had any one thing that was like all of a sudden a breakout. And I remember one of my artist friends, he finally got in Southwest Art Magazine, and he thought, okay, now I'm finally famous. But
I've
each
never heard of it.
yeah, each one of those things is just one of those little stepping stones that, it adds to the growth of your career, but I don't think it's going to make it. Very few, I think, have one day that's going to make it all happen.
Yeah. Well, I love when I see people post on social media, their painting is in one of our magazines or somebody else's, quite frankly. It's just so delightful to see them so excited. It's kind of a monumental moment. But you're right, it's not going to make or break somebody, but it's going to
Oh,
call attention to them. It's going to help them.
yeah, it's definitely exciting, and
Yeah.
and you want all those stepping stones, but don't think that that one thing is really going to change your whole life. You got to keep on going.
So I think we have some slides. What's the first creative rut? Carrie, can you bring up that slide? Travel. Okay, let's talk about that.
Well, my whole life, when I was a little kid, I ran away from home. So I always um, loved to travel, and I hitchhiked around the country when I was 15, 16 with $10 in my pocket crossing USA. I would just go everywhere. And I then, right from the beginning of Wanda's and our marriage, actually, we did our honeymoon in Ireland 45 years ago. And we went for 6 months. I sold everything I had, and I had $5,000, and we just went until we had $10 left, and then came back and started over again. And our whole life was pretty much like that. So the travel to new places, for me, inspires me to see, just to see differently and to be exposed to new things that kind of make me want to paint it. So some people are very comfortable just staying in their home, and that's just as good if you have something that's inspiring you every day. But for me, it definitely makes me feel like, okay, I'm here just today. I better take advantage of it. It's that feeling of being on vacation mode all the time. And I think you try to take the most of that when you're on a vacation for a week. Those 7 days, you're going full storm, and then you think about when you get back home, you rest. But so for me, I could be on a month trip, and every day I feel like I got to take the most of it, make the most out of this. And for painting, that really helps a lot.
Well, I think if I could just expand on that, I remember I took my kids on their first trip to Europe when they were, maybe 15 or 14 or something like that. And I took them to England first, and then I took them to France. Took them to England so they could assimilate a little bit. But what happens when you internationally travel, just getting out of the United States, or quite frankly, getting into a different region you're not familiar with, is that you see things differently. I have a couple here visiting me in upstate New York as we speak, and she had never been east of the Mississippi. And they're like loving it because things feel differently. So if she got out of her comfort zone, and I think that getting out of that comfort zone matters. When you see different kinds of cars or different kinds of driving on the wrong side of the road, or the correct side of the road as it may be, and it just stimulates your brain. It opens up new pathways in your brain.
Yeah. So I use that my whole career of painting. Really, basically, I would travel almost about 8 months out of every year for painting. So that's been pretty much Wanda's and my lifestyle, pretty much our whole career.
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
So,
I get
okay.
tired.
Say that again.
I'm starting to get tired.
Oh,
Or
stop
started.
it. You don't even have gray hair yet.
I think I just cut it off the other day.
Okay, so what's the next slide? Seminars. Tell us about
Well,
that.
I think, like, let's say the plein air events you do, and all the different seminars that you're creating, definitely, I think you have to continue to educate yourself in any opportunity. When I first started out, when I was doing illustration, I was a very successful illustrator, and I continued to take classes and workshops from as many people as I could to improve my illustration. And that's what got me painting outside, and then totally shifted gears out of advertising into just plein air painting. But taking a seminar from somebody you respect, you not only learn from that teacher, but you also learn again from those 20 people. And I think it's better when you're taking a seminar, let's say with 20 people, because then you can see 20 solutions to problems, instead of if you had a one-on-one with somebody, which sometimes could be great, but at the same time you have one problem that the teacher could deal with. So you really learn a lot when you're in an environment that you're with other people, all striving to, do the best, and you're learning different techniques from all those people. It's really a great opportunity. So I'd say seminars are really important. And then, I have many students that sometimes follow me many times. You'll find a teacher that you really connect with, that they can understand and see your growth and help you build where you're headed.
I find that even when we do our retreats, like the Publishers Invitational and the Adirondacks or Fall Color Week, we all put our paintings out at the end of every day. We call it bringing in our catch, right?
Mhm.
And you're in a room, and there's 100 people, so there's 200 paintings from that day, and you look and you see all of us stood in the same spot. How did these people come up with that idea? And it's mind blowing. I think it really helps.
Yeah, no, I think that really helps. And when we used to do the Plein Air Painters of America show, the other fine artists that were all part of the crew there, if somebody did a great painting, it just kind of got your juices flowing. You got to outdo that person, so that it's a healthy competition. And most all the people I know, my good friends and wonderful artists, we share in a good way, competitive in a good way. And we're all helping each other for that. And I think you'll find that in the plein air community, like you said, your group, you have 100 people up there, and they're all hoping for success for all of us.
Yeah, this is not like other industries. Everybody's here to help everybody else, even though, we may be competing at an event. Everybody's giving, and that's what's so wonderful about this whole plein air world, is that everybody wants to help.
Yeah,
So
and you might, when you're doing those events, you do your best, but some of the artists just hit it that day and just hit it out of the park, and deservingly so.
I find that if I'm painting by myself, my standards sometimes are different than if I'm painting with somebody good, right?
Mm.
Because it's like I can't embarrass myself completely, so I probably try a little harder.
No, I think that's very true. And that's why putting yourself into one of those competitive situations is healthy for you for that reason. Once in a while, you don't have to do that, but even in the seminars, it helps you up your game, I believe.
Well, it's interesting getting yourself out of your comfort zone has the same thing. I decided to do my first workshop, and I did it because I'm up in the Adirondacks and somebody dropped out and they needed somebody, and so I said I'd do it. But it's like now I'm thinking about, it's the imposter syndrome of, oh man, I shouldn't be doing this. I don't know anything about this. But what what I am forcing myself to do is to get out of that comfort zone, because I know that I'm going to be fine. I know I'll get through it, but I know that when I'm standing in front of other people, I'm going to have to do it well. And I think that's going to be mattering. So that's why I like it when people go out to workshops. But but don't you find sometimes people go to a workshop and then they don't do anything they're taught?
Once in a while, yeah, you'll get people, you wonder why they did it. Maybe their husband just wanted to get rid of them for a week or something. But yeah, but most of them don't. And I have so much fun with them when I do the workshops. We make it fun, and we really learn a lot, but we're having a good time while we're doing it. I
Yeah,
think
well,
that's
that helps you learn better, I think.
I think so. Yeah.
So what's our next slide? Paint with friends.
You know, like getting it, let's say you are in a rut, you know, it's one of those things, just having your friends say, okay, we're going to paint on Thursdays, and you might feel kind of on Thursday morning, oh, I don't want to get out. I don't want to go to the studio. But, you know, if you kind of commit to something, whether it's a seminar or just painting with friends, you know, once a week, that too will keep you motivated. We have to do it, you know, and there's a lot of ways we can make excuses not to do it. And again, just the travel part, sometimes, you know, you commit, you're out there, you have that amount of time you set aside for that. That's important. But, you know, if you're at home and you just make a deal with your friend every Thursday, you know, we'll go out. One day they choose, next day you choose the location. I think that helps you get out of you know, whatever rut you're thinking. I very rarely am not motivated. You know, I could be lazy, but I'm not in a rut.
Yeah. All right. What's next? Different subjects. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, you know, it's easy for all of us, I guess, to start seeing the same thing and being. I think when we're successful, sometimes you start to repeat yourself. So, you know, I think forcing yourself to do some things that are different for yourself, or maybe um, difficult for yourself, challenging for yourself. For instance, when I went to China, you know, back in 2010, I think it was, I didn't paint portraits at that time, but I went there for a month and I said, I'm going to paint some portraits. So that was kind of the start of doing mini portraits. And I've done hundreds of them now and really like that. And so actually this morning I painted a portrait. So, you know, I think that kind of helps. And when you paint something like that, let's say you're a landscape painter, I often hear people say in my class, you know, I'm a landscape painter, you know, and they lock themselves in, or they are a portrait painter. Oh, I don't paint landscapes. If you're a portrait painter, it's going to increase your drawing skills. And then when you are out doing landscape, it's going to actually feel much easier, because the drawing skills doing a portrait are much more difficult to get it right. You could be incorrect on a tree and get away with it, but on a face, I think you have a little problem if you take it too far off. So, you know, whether it's cityscapes or painting a car, whatever it might be, just try to see something different, try to change up your subject matter. And all of a sudden, it may totally shift what you love painting. You know, you may become a different subject painter.
I think you have to be careful about the stories you tell yourself. I used to say, I hate I hate the idea of painting in snow. And we did one of our events up in Canada, and they had a rare 100-year storm, and we had to paint in snow or we weren't going to paint. Some people stayed inside and painted from photos. Some people painted out the windows. And I begrudgingly went out and painted in the snow. And I learned that I loved it. I had been telling myself I hated it all these years, but just by forcing myself to do it, uh, I discovered something new that I really, really enjoyed.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. Let me grab a painting here. I love painting sunny days, and so a gray day painting to me is I have a hard time sometimes getting out, getting motivated on a gray day. And this was one I did the other day in one of the little villages here, and it was one of my favorite times. It was actually raining, and so I had a very good raincoat on and got under an awning, and you know, it was misty and dripping on the paint. Um, and it was one of my favorite paintings of the whole week. So, you know, you got to sometimes get out of your comfort zone, and that too, just like you said, I'm kind of looking forward to painting more rainy days. Now, when the sun's out here, I said, "Oh, it doesn't feel like Ireland."
I think a great workshop somebody should do is just say, okay, we're going to meet in the back alley, and you got to find something within 20 feet of here and figure out how to make it beautiful.
Yeah, truly, that's. I remember painting in France one time with one of my workshops, and we got to the bus station or the bus stop, and for some reason the bus, which was supposed to come, it was an hour and a half late or something. So I just did my demo right there and did a wonderful painting. So it really does sometimes force you to see and learn a lot by not repeating your same process.
Okay. Next slide, please. Different mediums. When you say mediums, are you talking about mediums to make your paint looser, or are you talking about actual different mediums like oil versus watercolor, et cetera?
Actually, yeah, that's a good question, Eric. Yeah, actually, I've been mostly a painter in oils, for most of my career, and then I started using watercolor and acrylic for some of my travels, which I really like, and it's definitely challenging. And it's for the watercolor, for instance. I don't really have the technique. I actually use the technique just like my oils. I start with my darks and I work towards the lights, very different than most watercolors do. And I deliberately not really tried to study with someone doing watercolor because I feel like it's a different medium, but it's the same way to see. So, painting for me is all the visual language, it's learning to see. And if I maybe use the watercolor in a way that's kind of wrong, maybe I'll come up with something that's interesting. And so sometimes not getting instruction, we might find something that's unique to the way we work. And then I started using acrylics recently too, and I really am enjoying that. And that's a challenge because it sets up so fast. And I love the oil paint that I can move. I feel it's almost like sculpture. I love when it's thick and I can actually push the paint around and change the shapes. But with the acrylic, it sets up a lot quicker. So, I'm finding different ways I layer the paint that are working and making, another unique way for myself. And for using these different mediums like the watercolor or acrylic when I'm making travel, I think it's really convenient, because it sets up and dries so quick for packing. So that's been a good thing.
Well, I think the other thing is that people are kind of getting away from wanting to, a lot of people are wanting to do toxic-free painting and get away from chemicals.
Well,
So that's good. But the
yeah.
idea for travel, taking something like gouache or watercolor or acrylic with you on a trip, you don't have to, carry chemicals on airplanes if you can, and it's just easier to find a cup of water.
Well, definitely. And the places I go sometimes are very primitive, and you couldn't find art supplies or like you said, the terps and things like that. So it's really good. And the other thing, it makes it easier sometimes. You mentioned gouache or watercolor. It's something that you can easily pull out of your pocket and do a small sketch and have maybe more opportunities. And maybe you're traveling with your family, and it's hard sometimes if you're not all with painters sometimes to find the time, 2 or 3 hours to set somewhere. But with a little watercolor sketchbook, you can maybe grab 20 minutes and not have your family be so bored with the situation. So that's good too.
I had
But
this.
the other thing too, Eric, like working with watercolor, for instance, and then if a watercolorist changes to oil, the textural differences. But when they bring in, a great watercolorist brings in that transparent and fluid movement, maybe that's the underpainting for their painting, and then they put in the opaque paint. The combination of that. One artist friend of mine, Alan Pult, he was such a great watercolorist, and then when he got into oils, the transparent, thick and thin was just luscious to look at. So you're going to bring some of this back and forth into each of your mediums that you do. So I think it really can teach you a lot.
I had a painting that sat on my easel and sat at the base of my easel for a long time. It was something was wrong with it. I couldn't figure it out. It just wasn't right. And then that was the year I hosted the first watercolor live. And so I paid close attention, watched it. I wasn't doing much watercolor painting at the time, but I painted along. I tried to do what they taught me to do. You've got different teachers, different instructors, different approaches. And one day somebody used a trick and the light went off, the bell went off and said, "That's it." And so that as soon as that was over, I ran back home and I got that painting out and I used that watercolor technique on the oil painting and that did it. That nailed it. That was perfect. So the idea of, other people's ideas and informing you, you can get a great idea about oil painting from a pastel painter or from a watercolor painter, et cetera. So there's just a lot of different approaches on that.
Yeah. So don't get stuck into you're a landscape painter or a portrait painter or an oil painter. Just be an artist and be open to whatever can continue to keep your inspiration, because to paint for 45 years, how do we continue to be inspired and be motivated and keep our own interest? So I think that's important to realize that our job is to remain inspired in any which way. And so we may have failures when we're going into those other mediums, but I think it might really open some doors, like you said. It kind of open a way of seeing that you didn't see before.
Well, what I'm finding now that I'm painting in all these different mediums, I'm less bored, right? I was getting a little bored with oil painting sometimes. I'm less stuck. And also I find that, sometimes a watercolor is going to give me what I want to communicate. Sometimes a pastel is going to give me what I want to communicate. Sometimes an acrylic. I took a group of people to Japan earlier in the spring, and I went to visit with two of the paint companies there. One of them was Turner and the other one was Holbein. They showed us how to make paint and stuff like that. And I walked away with a set of acrylic gouache. And I've been using that acrylic gouache, and it got me re-energized because it paints different than regular acrylic. It paints more like gouache. It's a little flat, and so I'm having so much fun with that. And are you painting in regular acrylics? Or are you painting in a type of acrylics like slow drying acrylics, or what are you doing?
Yeah. I'm actually, I've been using golden open acrylics.
Yeah. Oh, those are
so, but it's a little bit of, I really like those, but then I'm using a Fabriana paper or an Arches oil paper for some of it. And so it kind of, that, and in some ways it defeats the slow drying process because it sucks it in. But then again, I can actually lay in some transparent washes, almost like a watercolor onto it, and then do some layering. So I've been the last trip in Sicily a month or so ago. After a few weeks of painting, I finally was really just finding the right technique with it. It just came together, and then I went home and I forgot what I did. But it was fun though. So I'm enjoying it. It gives me an opportunity to just explore techniques that feel different than the oils. I like.
Do you have any acrylic paintings nearby? I didn't mean I.
Yeah, actually, all the paintings, like the one I just showed you. This is acrylic.
Yeah, see, I would have never looked at that and said that's acrylic.
Yeah, and I think.
Don't you think that some people used to have a stigma? Like some people would say, well, you can't sell an acrylic painting in a gallery or something. Those paintings overcome that stigma.
Yeah, I don't think you would know it, that it is necessarily. This was another little rainy day, which is fun. And then.
Oh, that's spectacular. Did you carry those frames over there with you?
Actually, I just had them made. Yeah.
Oh, that's just beautiful. So you're really, when you're applying the techniques that that you've learned, you're still getting the same effects. You just have to kind of learn how to get them by different.
Yeah. And as I said, there's some days it just works, and then some days it doesn't, and some days, like here where it's moisture, that gave another one challenge that, actually the sky and stuff started dripping, and, when it was getting too wet. And then when I was in Sicily the other day, it was a dry and windy day, and, it was setting up, and it was annoying me that it, the edges were getting a little too dry too fast. So that's a challenge. So every day you kind of have that, but it can open up some opportunities of new discovery, really. So,
Yeah.
my I still start with my magic grid on all my paintings, and I think for the inspiration and getting out of ruts, I think this not only for myself has re-inspired me in such a big way. I
So
never
what
do it.
Kevin is referring to is the Magic Grid is a system that he's developed, and we did a video together on how to do it, and it's pretty amazing. And I'll tell you what, Kevin, if you're okay with this, when we're done here today, we'll give away a couple, one of your Magic Grid landscape videos and one of your Magic Grid portrait videos. You okay with that?
Yeah, that'd be great. It was interesting. I did a presentation in the Opera House the other night for the people at the Art in the Open, and I was very thorough discussion on my Magic Grid process. And then I did a couple little seminars during the Art in the Open. And yesterday a fella came by and he just said, I changed his life, and just literally in 2 days. Most people who paint for a long time, you mentioned it earlier in your discussion in the opening, how when we have the bad habits, that's the biggest thing to overcome. I can get somebody who's never painted in their life, and in 1 week, it's amazing what they can do. It's when people paint for 30 years incorrectly and don't really have the language to understand how to make a two-dimensional painting, I think it's much harder for them. So it's changing. So when almost everybody that was in the little workshops in the presentation, it was an eye opener of really fully understanding what the language of abstract thinking is to make a realist painting. So it was really fun to see that and to have some people come up and see the difference they did literally in a day, their next painting, by using the thought process that I communicated with them. It was
We have
really
a lot of questions about the Magic Grid, and we can't get into a lot of depth about it because of time here, but
yeah.
maybe you could give us a minute to pull out the Magic Grid and kind of help people understand what this is all about.
Okay. Yeah, the 2 or 3 videos that we did together, Eric, I really feel that they're so well done, and we communicated well on it. I highly recommend them. But basically, what I like to tell people is, we're painting a flat surface. And, if you just really, the most simple way to think about this, I have all these mosaics on here. And so first of all, it helps us understand composition. And that may be, say, this the most obvious thing that people think that it's going to do. But not only that, the way I put it all together, it helps us with color, with gradations, movement, eye movement through there. It helps us develop the star of the painting. It helps us learn to see and relate color so much better. It helps us with the brushwork. There's all these facets that it helps. It's basically a decision maker. Every stroke we put down as an artist, we have to make a decision. And this one really puts all the little aspects of painting together and helps us with those decisions.
It's also kind of like doing stained glass with oil.
Exactly. And that, when I talk about I use the term mosaic and stained glass as the most simple way to understand what we're trying to do when we're making a painting. So when you go outside, if you just say, I'm going to make a stained glass window of the scene I'm looking at, and I'm going to make every piece out of glass and tell the glassmaker how and where to cut each piece, it's amazing how that builds your painting in such a simple and easy way of understanding. And it takes away the thinking. And that's the biggest problem I think people have. They want to paint grass and trees and water and hair.
Yeah.
And they
Especially
need
hair.
to become, they need to become an abstract painter.
So maybe we can, I don't know if we have this because we hadn't planned it, but do we have a video, a picture of that magic grid video? Can we pull that up? Oh, there we do. Okay. So there's one on portraits and there's one on landscapes and maybe more to come. So later on at the end of this, we'll give away one of each of those if that's okay. So Kevin, why don't we, I'm going to move on to the next part of this. And then when we come back, we're going to answer questions. You cool with that?
I'm great. That's good.
Okay, good. Get a glass, have a drink of that beer, and then
Alrighty.
you'll give better answers to those questions.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right. So I hope you guys are enjoying this part of the program. We'll take a quick break to talk about a great event that we have coming up, but stick around because we are going to give away a couple of Kevin's videos, and we're also going to give away a Plein Air convention ticket, big ticket. They're all great prizes. I want to tell you something that we're officially announcing today. It's new. As many of you know, we started some online events during COVID to kind of keep us all busy and entertained and learning and growing. And we started Watercolor Live, Plein Air Live, Realism Live, and Pastel Live. When COVID was over, we were going to pull the plug on it all. But then people said, no, don't do it. Don't do it because they get to watch from home. They don't have to spend money on hotels and rental cars and travel. A lot of people said I've got kids at home, or I've got elderly parents that I'm taking care of. I've got a husband or wife or I'm taking care of, or I can't get around myself like I used to. So they begged us to keep them going, and we have. And we thought they would die when COVID left, but the reality is that's not the case at all. As a matter of fact, they're thriving. So a lot of people return year after year because there's different instructors and they get to a certain level and then they want to get to the next level still. And so they go again, and then they work on that stuff for a year. So we always put out surveys. We watch trends carefully, and people have asked us for a new event. So today we're officially announcing it. You've probably heard about it a little bit, but it's going to be Acrylic Live. It used to be that acrylic wasn't taken very seriously by serious painters in some areas. But the reality is that most of the contemporary art world is made of acrylics, and there's also new forms of acrylic, like Kevin mentioned. There's open acrylics, there's gouache acrylic or acrylic gouache, slow drying acrylics is stuff, and of course there's a lot of things that allow you to get rid of that shiny feel and make them feel like oil paintings, but you don't have to do that. Then there's the safety issues. A lot of people are trying to get into solvent-free painting. And then there's the travel issues. It's just so hard to travel with oil paints and solvents and stuff like that. So I used to use acrylics a long, long time ago, and then I stopped and went to oils. But now I like them when I travel because they dry fast. I don't have to carry wet panels in my bag. I don't have to carry a panel carrier that eats up lots of space. They all dry, throw them in my bag, and I did that when I went to Japan. So this is going to be a lot like our other events. It's a world-class faculty, about 30 faculty members, different styles, different approaches, different kinds of acrylics, different subjects, portraits, figures, landscapes, still life, etc. And so I want to give you some specifics of Acrylic Live. Then we're going to get back to the finalize with Kevin, some questions and answers, and also get back to some prizes. But I want to tell you that we're doing something today we've never done before. This event is not till March, and because it's a brand new event, we decided we're going to create founding members, and you get to be a founding member if you invest in this today with us, and you will be a founding member forever as long as you continue to go with us, right? So the event's not till March, but today we're going to do something special. So if we bring up those slides right now. So Acrylic Live is happening the 26th through the 28th of March, and put it in your calendar right now. And here's what it's kind of going to look like. First off, it's a world-class faculty, and there's more to be announced, but we decided that I'm going to get a co-host because I don't have an acrylic editor. I've asked the great Charlie Easton to be our co-host. He's charming and he's a good acrylic painter and fun to be around, and so he's going to co-host with me. We have Chantel Barber is going to be teaching in acrylic. Carla Bosch. You see the differences in styles, difference in colors, differences in approaches. Carla Bosch is going to be teaching. Ann Blair Brown, one of the greats. She's painting in acrylics exclusively. Sarah Burns, Rick Delante, Jed Dorsey, one of the greats now. Amy Erickson, another great. Joe Gersick, Claudia Hartley, Mike Hernandez, who is a film illustrator and creative director for the movie business, and he's using acrylic gouache. And Kevin Macpherson is going to be teaching as well, plus Colette Pincher, and there's more faculty to be announced. Of our events, in case you're not aware of them, Katie Smith says this: I'm glad I made the call to invest in myself. It was worth it, so worth it. Anheim says, what a spectacular 4 days, something unique and inspiring from each artist and talk. So Acrylic Live is March 26th through 28th. It's 3 days live. And a normal price on this is going to be $897. That's for the full retail price if you wait to the last minute. The current price on the website is $397. We're going to give you a founding member price today of 50% off, today only, 50% off of the retail price. So a general ticket for a founding member is $197. Oh, it's 50% off today's price. $197 and a $700 savings. There's 3 categories, which I don't want to get into too much yet here. I'll show you more about them. So you can do different replay values and get different stuff. Premier is our most popular. So the general ticket includes 3 days of Acrylic Live, 7 days of replay access, so you can check back in, private Acrylic Live Facebook community group, live breakout sessions during the event, which is where you'll learn a lot and you meet a lot of people. And then there are paint-alongs during our evening cocktail hour. Then we have our Premier ticket, which is our most popular, which includes all the same things, plus 3 full days of Acrylic Live, Facebook community breakout sessions, cocktail hour, plus 60 days of replay access, and some Acrylic Live collector's items, special cap, pin, easier sticker set, and so on. And that's on the Premier ticket. And full retail price of that is $1,000 today. Our current price is $497. You're getting that for $247. So normally you'd be paying $247 for the general. And this is, so you're getting all this extra stuff, replays and so on. And this is today only. And then the VIP is going to be special too. You get the Acrylic Live collector's items, special cap, pin, travel easel sticker set, replay access, diploma, swag bag filled with collectibles, all kinds of stuff, vendor stuff, etc. And that's normally $1,697. $1,097 is the current price, but you can get VIP for $547. That's barely going to cover the cost of all the stuff that we send you. And so you're getting 50% off on that. So when you go to the website to register, just pick one of these 3 categories. You get 50% off on all of these. This is not on our regular website. You won't find it there. So the founding member special price is today only. And we decided to give you some bonuses if you sign up in the next 1 hour from when we end this broadcast. One is we're giving you a video from Pace 2017 Gil Dillinger painting in acrylic. Ober Ray Star Livingston from Pace 2024 painting in acrylic. Jed Dorsey's demo from Pace in 2019 in acrylic. Steve Browning's plein air demo. Carla Bosch's plein air live demo in 23. Joe Gersick's 24 demo. And the total bonus value is $982. So if you took the general ticket price and the bonus value price, $1,897 or $79, your price today only, founding member special price $197. Okay, $1,700 savings. So it's a good deal. And then we have Essential Techniques Day, the day before it all begins on the 25th. And they're going to cover all the basics, full day of essential techniques, refreshers. A lot of beginners go, but a lot of people go for refreshers. And if you're new to acrylics, you want to start there. Plus, you get 10 days of replay access, private acrylic live Facebook community, breakout sessions, paint along, etc. Its retail price is $297. Current price is $197. We're going to give it to you for $97 in addition to the other. That's 50% off. So we have all the payment options: PayPal, credit card, Venmo, Apple Pay, Google Pay, MetaPay, Pay. And there's even payment plans with Shop Pay, so you can make payments on it in installment payments. Yeah, it's easy for you to say, Eric. No risk guarantee. We have 100% money back guarantee. If you watch it first day and you don't feel like on the first day you did not get full value for the whole week's worth on the first day, we will refund your money. Okay. So that's Acrylic Live online. So if you just click the link now, we're going to give you a little bit of time. And if you do it within the next hour, you get all the bonuses. This is good for 24 hours, the deal. But if you do it in the next hour, you get all the bonuses. Cheryl Akers said it was the best money I ever spent. She's talking about Watercolor Live, but we don't have any testimonials on Acrylic Live because it's new. But she said it's inspiring and helpful. What a wonderful, encouraged way to spend time. So founding member price, $197. This price is not, we're doing it, this is several months in advance. We're doing it now because we were able to get Kevin and we wanted to get this thing launched officially. So if you guys want, you can just go ahead and follow the special link that's showing up. We've put the link also in there, and we're just going to give you just a couple of minutes. We'll put a little music on, and we'll just give you a couple minutes to take that. And then we're going to be back with Kevin, and Kevin's going to answer some questions, and we're going to give away some big prizes. This is going to be really fun, and it's a chance to challenge yourself, a chance to learn something new, get out of a rut, a chance to kind of have something to travel with. And I think, the one thing that when I was doing acrylics, I didn't know how to use them. And so I'd get globbiness and I'd get, or too watery. But when you get these guys and folks, these folks who are showing you their techniques, and they're all different styles and techniques, including Kevin, you're going to see how different people approach it and what they've learned and how you can learn. And then you can take all of that and come up with your own style, your own approach. And I think it's going to be really helpful. Really excited about doing this. Again, we thought that COVID would kill all of this, but it hasn't. As a matter of fact, this is going to be bigger than ever. So this is going to be pretty exciting. So that's going to mean we have 5 events: watercolor, pastel, plein air. What did I forget? Acrylic. Oh, there's a little cheat sheet. And Realism Live. So those are the dates of these coming up. So we're excited about it. So go ahead and fill that out. And we're going to give you a little time when this ends. Why don't we go back to Kevin now? We'll just do that. Kevin, let's take some questions.
Okay. Thank you, Eric.
You're going to teach. What are you going to be teaching?
Well, a lot of people think that my magic grid is a lot of math. I tell you, that was a lot of math, what you were doing.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Well, I hope I didn't confuse you too much, but maybe it's the beer.
It could be. But we have.
I'm cheers, Kevin. This is iced tea. Clink.
Been fun. I appreciate you having me on here, Eric.
Kevin, we love you, man. You've been so great for us, so great for the Plein Air Convention, and most of all for everybody. You're so helpful and generous. Carrie's going to come on with questions. Carrie? Carrie, you're muted.
I sure am. I didn't want you to hear me typing away. Okay, so first question is, so we're talking about getting out of a rut. And all of these things that we've talked about today are, you're in a big rut and you do these things. But what happens for you, Kevin, when you are in, say you're in the middle of a painting and you get stuck? What do you do in that situation when you're you're in the middle and don't know either where to take the painting or something feels off. What do you do to try to get yourself out of that situation?
Well, there's many times when that may happen, and I think you just got to step away from it a little bit. And when I used to do illustration, uh, and I dream paintings and I dream solutions. It seems like sometimes you just step away and your mind's still working on that thing. And let's say you step even away from days, and you're out doing something else. All of a sudden, sometimes how to solve that painting comes into play. My friends are going crazy now.
With friends like that, you don't need enemies.
Exactly. So, I think probably the best is to step away from it, turn it upside down, come in the next morning and see it fresh. And sometimes right away you can see something that is wrong with it or how to fix it. And there's a lot of times I'll do my paintings that on my trips. I'll have paintings that I keep for a year or 2 years in my studio, and all of a sudden it clicks on me. I know how to fix that painting someday. Someday I know how to fix 10 of the paintings. So, but I think moving forward on a problem is better than beating the problem to death. It's better sometimes to just put that one away and do a new one.
Okay.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a good answer.
Yeah.
Okay, so we were talking about different mediums and how different mediums inform the others. As a beginner artist, this one lady is trying to learn watercolors, oils, and pastels. Do you recommend that someone try to stick with one medium until they've mastered that? Can they do all the mediums at the same time? Do you, how do you juggle those? Do you do one per day, or do you, do like a fixed period of time where you're working on just this medium? How do you recommend somebody who's starting out with that?
It was a question that we had at a panel discussion just the other day with Art in the Open with half a dozen or so artists, and that same question came up. Usually when I go on a painting trip, let's say I went to Italy, I may just take watercolors and I focus that, for a month or however long I'm on that trip. And it gives you time to get a feeling for it, work with it, and have somewhat of a routine on that. I'd say having a block of time is probably better. And I like playing around, as I mentioned earlier, with different mediums, and it could be every day you switch, every month you switch, or you get a session of, a whole year perhaps with one medium. And then another artist said, they think it's better to just focus on one, so that you become the best with that medium. So there's a lot of ways we can discuss that. And, to get really good at something, it takes some time, but at the same time, like I mentioned for myself, I'm painting for 45 years. How do I keep myself entertained? So by doing that, I like to mix it up a bit.
Good answer. Okay, so next questions pertain to plein air painting. Number one is, do you have a recommendation for plein air easel?
Oh, there's so many good ones now. I happen to use Art Essentials easel, the easel, EZL, or however you want to name it. And then I have a Soltech easel for larger paintings. But, on my travels, I usually take a very small, lightweight one. But there's so many good ones out there now. So, the more you paint, the more easels you're going to accumulate. I have a half a dozen. Yeah.
That is very true, and that applies to paints as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you talked earlier about doing more, you do smaller plein air paintings, do more of them, each day. So two-part question. Number one is, do you give yourself an allotted time if you're trying to paint each day on how long you can work on a particular painting? And part two is, what do you deem as a smaller painting? Is there a certain size that you try to stick to?
I find like 11, 14, I've been using that size, which is not too small, not too large for the session of a 2 to 3 hour painting. And, if I'm doing a little 6x8 painting, it takes me 3 hours. I don't care. I think a lot of people think plein air painting is, done fast and loose, but, it's the thoughtfulness and the feeling of a more poetic faceting of forms that, make a painting look loose, although the painting can take a long time to do. So I think sometimes people just think, oh, I just whacked this out in 20 minutes. I don't care if it took 20 minutes or 20 hours. That's our job to make it a good painting. So I think if it takes you a longer time to get it done and you're holding on to the effect that you're after for plein air painting, then that's okay. The often the event that we're looking at, sometimes the lighting effect maybe lasts 7 minutes, but it might take an hour and a half to kind of solve it. And so I try to hold on to that effect, but I still have to manipulate the paint and all the shapes to make it a good painting.
Very good. Okay, so a couple of other questions. Should an adult learn classic academic drawing first and then try to find their style? Do you think having that academic education is pertinent to being an artist, or can you just, jump right into where you are?
Well, I think you have to have a foundation in structure and good skills to communicate what you're trying to do in the painting. So if your drawing skills are terrible, like you can't communicate. If you don't understand values in color, you're just not going to maybe communicate the emotion you're after. But at the same time, I've seen people study very seriously and lose all the passion out of their painting. So, you have to find what you need along the way. And by having seminars, having the opportunity for the videos that are out there by so many great artists, you can really have access to a lot of great learning opportunities that you couldn't have done, 10, 20 years ago. So definitely, though, you have to build your skills to be able to communicate what you're trying to communicate.
Hey,
But I don't think you need to go to a university. I think, to be honest, my magic grid is illegal in 17 states because they can learn how to paint in a week.
Yeah, let's give a couple of those away right now, Carrie.
Yeah.
Okay, definitely. Before we do that, though, I had a couple of questions about the magic grid. Number one is, can you use the magic grid for different mediums like pastel? And also, do you use it for plein air painting?
Oh, it definitely wouldn't work for pastel. That's the silliest question. It works for everything, but it's funny that people say, "Oh, will it work for a portrait, or will it work for watercolor?" Yeah, it's really teaching you the language of painting, so it works for anything. And and for pastel, it's actually terrific, to be honest.
I gotta just say, Kevin, that once in a while, we have produced over 700 art instruction videos, and some of them are 20, 30, 40 hours long. That video, that magic grid, and I recommend, honestly, the portrait and the landscape, because that way you get to see how both can be done in that system, but where you articulate how you do the grid, why you do the grid, how you use the grid, how you use it in each of these environments. It's life changing. If people would do that, they'd invest. I don't even know how long these are, but they're not very long. Invest 2, 3, 4 hours. It's game changing. I think it's game changing.
I do too. I'm thrilled, and it's interesting. Beginners can just advance so quickly and understand, but some of the very professional painters that have been exposed to it overnight, it's amazing because they have those skills that Carrie asks. So they can really change, especially their color, so quickly. Improve their color. So it's really exciting to see the change that they have. So I'm really happy with those.
Do you find that you know a lot of people who have been painting for a lot of years, like yourself? Do you find that a lot of them get stuck in ruts, or are they out there pushing their limits and learning from other people, attending seminars themselves?
Well, I think some of my friends and the best artists, they're always open to learning from each other and from others. So, yeah, definitely. I went to Vienna the other day just to look at Egon Schiele's work, and met up with Clyde Aspavig, and we had a good time looking at that. So we're always seeking to improve our work, but especially, be open. There's so many artists now that you have access to through YouTube and Facebook and videos that open your eyes, from artists all over the world that really continue to inspire us.
Great. Okay, let's give away a couple of those, Carrie.
Okay. So first I have the portraits version. Magic Grid Portraits by Kevin Macpherson is going to Gabrielle Baber and Leanna Brinsmaid. Congratulations, Gabrielle and Leanna.
Okay, wait, I'm confused. I'm confused. How are you picking these names?
I went into the chat and I picked them as you guys were talking about the Magic Grid, because whenever you ask, I can't read the screen. So I went in while you were talking and I was watching everybody's comments about the Magic Grid and how they wanted to win. So I picked 2 people.
Okay, so now now you're going to do the same thing. You're going to talk about which one, the portrait or landscape?
So that I just gave away 2 portraits, and now we have the landscape one. And see, you talk about it and they all go by so fast, I can't read the names. Look at what you did. Yeah. We are going to go with, no, can't read it. Lynn Casaneri and Dennis Marshall.
All right.
You guys are the proud winners of Kevin Macpherson's landscape Magic Grid video.
Okay, cool. Why don't we do like one or 2 more questions, and then we'll give away the plein air convention.
Sure. So we talked about those, talked about that one. So Kevin, you talked a little bit about the paper that you were using. So somebody wanted to know, number 1, what is the kind of paper you mentioned you were using? And number 2, when you do plein air painting, do you use a limited palette?
So the paper I've been using for the acrylics is Fabriana watercolor paper and or Arches oil paper, and both accepted. And I'll do it on some linen canvas or acrylic primed Belgium linen canvas too. So I'll do various surfaces. So that's the surface I'm using for the acrylic. And the other question was,
do you use a limited palette when you plein air paint?
Yeah, I use pretty much a limited palette for all my paintings, whether I'm outside or inside, whether it's a landscape or a portrait. Most of my paintings were done just with red, yellow, and blue and white. And I'd say I use maybe 6 or 7 colors, like with the acrylics, yellow, yellow ochre, cad red, light, sometimes a cool red, ultramarine, black, and maybe a phthalo green and white. So that's about my extended palette.
Awesome.
Perfect. Let's see. So we answered that question and that question. I think that's all of them. Yep, that's all the questions.
Okay. So now let's do this. Who wants to go to the plein air convention? Pick me. Go in there. Pick me.
Oh, you're terrible. Gotta find my window again. So we are gonna go with, so that I can read them. William Lake, and can I give away another one? Can I give away 2?
Oh no.
No, just one.
Wait a minute. William Lake, this is a $1,700 prize, Carrie.
Well, that's true, but fun.
Okay, well, it's up to Kevin. Kevin, what do you think?
I think so. What do you think so? Yeah,
okay.
Let's do.
All right, we'll do one more.
Okay, one more.
Wait a minute. You picked a guy before. Now you got to pick a girl.
I can pick a girl. Let's go with. See if I can read these.
I'll probably get
Jennifer Stringer.
Jennifer Stringer
and William Lake. You guys are going to the plein air convention.
William Lake on Lake Tahoe. How cool is that? Hey, I want to tell everybody too that I set a goal at the plein air convention. We want to get more young people plein air painting, and so keep an eye on, read our emails and stuff, because we are going to give away 100 seats to the plein air convention to students under 25.
Oh wow.
Okay. And so we will be emailing soon about how to nominate people, because we gave away 10 or 12 this year, and we just want more people coming that are younger and get them involved in the plein air movement. So they don't have to be plein air painters, but they got to want to be. And so we're going to do that, and then it's going to be great. Lake Tahoe and Reno, it's going to be a lot of fun. Kevin, any final thoughts?
Well, thank you all for having me on this, Eric and Carrie. I appreciate it. And I'm glad we were able to find a place for Wi-Fi. And I wish you lots of luck. I do appreciate having the opportunity to share some stuff with you.
Yeah, it was really great, Kevin. Thank you so much, and God bless you. You've been just a good friend and a good soldier, on behalf of the plein air movement. You're inspiring us all. You've been inspiring us for years. I would encourage everybody to go out and get Kevin's books. He's got 4 of them, right? 4 of them?
Yeah, 4 of them.
Four books. That's a Herculean effort in itself. And get his videos and just, study him and do what he says. Whatever Kevin says, just do it. And
tell Wanda that. Yeah, just tell Wanda.
Within reason, don't be creepy old man kind of things. But when I first started painting, somebody said, Kevin Macpherson says, go do 100 small paintings. Limit yourself to 30 minutes. And I said, okay, that's what I'm going to do, because Kevin said to do it.
Well, thanks again, Eric. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Kevin. Say hi to everyone over there. Say hi to Hi-Ho and everyone else.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks for doing it.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, our guest today was Kevin Macpherson, and what a terrific human being. I want to remind you guys that we have this special founder's price on Acrylic Live. Kevin's going to be teaching acrylic on Acrylic Live, which is a great thing. We're going to have over 30 instructors. We went through many of whom we've announced, and we've got more to announce. This is very early because the event's not till March, but the price that we're offering today is only good for the next 24 hours. And then the price for if you want the bonuses, you sign up within the next hour from when we end this broadcast. And that's going to start any second now. So I want to thank you guys. I want to thank Carrie Stober for doing this and the entire Streamline team. It takes a lot of people to put these things together and to be able to do all of the legwork and the scheduling and the technology and everything. So thank you to everyone at Streamline. I'm really proud. We've got a really terrific team. These are people who really love what they do. They love what we do. They love the fact that we're able to help people and take you to the next level and give you experiences and try to be there for you, to try to come up with the kinds of things that you want. We are going to be announcing a new Publishers Invitational Retreat. We're just kind of getting all the paperwork done and everything, and then we'll be announcing that soon. And it's going to be something in the winter time, so people can go plein air painting in the winter time in a warm climate. Need I say more? So watch for that, and then we'll be announcing our new plein air trip coming up soon, which is going to be another exotic trip. Last year we went to Japan. We've been to Cuba twice. We've been to Africa. We've been to, where else did we go? Anyway, we've been a lot of places. And New Zealand twice. So anyway, we're going to be doing that stuff, and there's just always new things coming. So watch those emails from us. I know we send a lot, but we've got a lot going on. And the day you don't open is the day you miss something, and then you get mad at us when we sell out, and because you didn't open that email. So thanks again to all of you for being here. Hey, Carrie. Carrie, are you there?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I am here.
I'm kind of feeling that we need to give away 2 more Kevin Macpherson videos.
Okay, we can do that.
All right. So we need people to go into the chat and let's just
And
pick
I'm going to
2 more.
attempt to read your names as they fly by. Okay, let's see here. Who wants the video? Carol from Ormond Beach and Cami Leonard.
Okay. So how do they get them? How do we know?
You need to send me an email at winner@streamlinepublishing.com and I can get you access to those.
Okay.
So anybody who won anything today, if your name was called, send me an email at winner@streamlinepublishing.com.
All right. Let's also give away another pair of value specs. Oh, look at us.
Okay.
We need a screenshot like this. We'll both look off into the distance. These help you see your values. I still use them. They're really helpful. I painted with them this weekend.
I am going to go with Neil McMillan because he is blowing up the chat right now with every other message. He really wants a pair of value specs. So Neil McMillan, you are the proud owner of your own value specs.
Okay, what else do we have we could give away?
Well, I had thought about upgrading a couple of tickets for Acrylic Live.
Oh.
Can we do that?
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Well, how do we know if they've already signed up or not?
Well, I emailed the office and asked them to give me the names of 2 people who've already signed up during our broadcast today. And so these 2 people are going to get upgraded. Ralph Strong, you are getting upgraded to a premiere ticket to Acrylic Live. Ralph Strong from Vacaville, California. Vacaville, sorry. Vacaville, I don't get out much.
Cowtown.
And then Natalie Jones from Plantation, Florida, you are getting upgrade to VIP. So yay, congratulations, Natalie and Ralph.
Okay. Do you feel like we've given away enough stuff now? You said earlier today, Eric, let's give away a bunch of stuff. Do you feel like
you did let me give away 2 tickets to Pace instead of 1, so.
Yeah, that was expensive.
Yeah.
Let's give away my book.
Okay, yes, this is a good one. Eric Rhoads, Art Marketing. Gosh, I can't remember. Make more money selling your art.
Yes.
That's what it's called. And we are going to go with.
Well, they have to want it. You got to go in there and say, I want it.
Okay. So type in the chat that you want Eric's book. Oh my gosh.
Nobody wants it.
Yes, we do. It's just going so fast. I can't read it. Todd, is it Todd Bigsby? Todd Griffsby? Bigsby? Todd somebody. I can't read it. It's going too fast. It's Todd you put your email in there. It's Todd. I know that much. So we will find you, Todd. Todd Bithby Design, I think, is what it's called. So Todd, you get Eric's book. Congratulations.
Okay. All right. Okay, now you guys go into the chat and tell us what we should give away.
Let's see. All of them are commenting books still, so I think there's a little bit of a delay.
Okay. Well, let's give away another book.
Well, that's fine because they said they want Eric's book, which is Sunita Mathser. Sunita Mathser, is that how you say your name? Sunita, you get to win Eric's book.
Okay. Anything else in there?
Another Tahoe ticket, another somebody wants an apron, more value specs.
Okay, let's give away a Plein Air magazine apron. I think we're almost out of those.
Okay.
Do you have any more? Do you know if we have any more?
I have no idea.
Okay. Well, if we don't, then we'll send you something else. But
yes,
let's give away a Plein Air magazine.
So if you want an apron, type apron. This thing goes so fast. I wish you guys, well, I mean, you can see it on your end, but it goes by so fast. Okay, apron goes to Jeanette Stutzman, because I could see your name, Jeanette Stutzman.
Okay.
Yay, Jeanette Stutzman.
Okay, now, I was just thinking, what if there probably isn't anybody watching that's not a subscriber to Plein Air magazine. But if you're not a subscriber to Plein Air magazine, you have to use the specific words, pick me, and we'll give you a subscription.
You cannot be a current subscriber.
Right. Pick me.
Okay, let's see here.
Are we having fun yet?
We're always having fun.
Yeah.
I like giving stuff away.
Yeah.
Okay. Ooh, lots of them. Let's do.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay. This is a scolding moment.
Okay.
All right. If you're into plein air painting and you do not yet have a subscription to Plein Air Magazine, shame.
There's a
Now,
lot of them in here.
and if you're in another country, you can get a digital edition. And the cool thing about the digital edition, most of our subscribers get the print and the digital because the digital has 30% more content, stuff we didn't have enough room for in print. It's the number one selling art magazine in America, bar none. Barnes and Noble, they call us all the time. They say, we're sold out, we're sold out, we're sold out. Number one selling art magazine in America. We have another one, Fine Art Connoisseur. It's not number one because Plein Air is number one. But we would love for you guys to subscribe. Just go to pleinairmagazine.com to do that. But, oh, wow, look at her. She's on it. Hey, I want to just say something else. The new cover of Plein Air Magazine, isn't that beautiful? That is Camille Preswatic, who won the Plein Air Salon art competition. She won the cover and the $15,000 cash prize. And unfortunately, we lost Camille last week. And so it's very fitting that we're able to honor her. And we're changing the story a little bit to honor her. And so what a fabulous painter she was. We miss her.
Yeah, I was really excited. She had been entering every year for all 13 years. So she was in the very first plein air salon competition we ever had. And she entered over 250 paintings over the course of 13 years. So it was really cool that she said in her interview that that was her goal, was to win the plein air convention or the plein air salon.
Did she say why it was her goal?
Actually, no, I don't think so. She just said she made it one of her goals to win this competition. And so she finally, after 13 years, finally won it. And I was so excited. So yeah, so sad that she's gone.
That's very cool. Well, okay.
So question.
Yeah.
So we've got a lot of people who are not subscribers, but you mentioned the digital edition for international. So can we give away two? One for print, and then if you are an international subscriber, or if you are an international artist who wants to subscribe, type in digital.
Nope. Can't give away two.
Yeah, we can.
No. No, I'll tell you what though. Let's give away one print subscription and let's give away 5 digital.
Oh.
Okay. And then we're done.
Very cool. Okay, and then we're done.
Any more money.
So if you want the digital edition of the magazine, you better type it in there.
Digital.
Okay.
Digital.
Okay, so before those digital ones come in, the one that I am picking for print magazine is going to be Jeff Hammer. Jeff Hammer, you are the proud owner of a subscription to Plein Air Magazine. And Mary Klug, you are digital. They're coming in fast. Christine Bass, you are digital. Slow down. Jeffrey Maloney or Marloney from Florida, you are a digital winner. Salzburg BJ, who is international, you are a winner. And Amandine, I hope you're writing these down because I am not. And and let's go with last one is Earl Robertson. You are a digital winner. Is that 5?
I don't know.
I think that's 5.
All right. Okay, can we stop giving stuff away now?
Yes, we can stop giving stuff away.
All right. Hey, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in today. I hope we're not offending you by having so much fun. We like to have fun. We like to make things fun. Kevin Macpherson is fun. Fun is his middle name. We learn a lot from him. I hope you guys will drop Kevin a note or go onto his Facebook or Instagram or whatever it is he's on and just give him a slap on the back and thank him for doing this for us today. It's very valuable. And a guy like that can teach us so much. And I want to thank the entire Streamline team. Did that earlier, but thank you guys and gals. My wife says, don't use the word gals. Sorry about that. It's very old school of me. And, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, we love you guys. We guys, it's just so satisfying to see people changing their lives, to see people who are, for the first time in their life, they're actually able to paint. They're able to discover that they have that inside of them, and it's a matter of just pulling it out. And that, it's not about talent, it's about pulling it out. It's about learning a process, and that's what we do. It's what we do with our videos. It's what we do with our virtual conferences. It's what we do every day, all day long. We study learning so we can teach you better. And when you do these digital conferences, these online conferences, we get people from all over the world. We'll get thousands of people this year, thousands, and watching. We have instructors from all over the world. We have a lot of people watching from UK. We've invited a very famous artist, actually two very famous artists in the UK to participate. We haven't figured out whether or not that's going to happen yet. To several of our events. I have people teaching from India, from Sweden, from everywhere, and South America, Russia. We have people teaching from all over, Ukraine. And we love the fact that we can be an international family, that we can all get together. And there's a concept called immersion. And Harvard talks about this, that Harvard talks about how we learn. And one of the most effective ways to learn is immersion. When you jump in to a swimming pool, you get fully wet, right? So here's the thing. You're going to be working on your career, you're working on your art, and you're just dabbling here and there. And you tell yourself, I don't have time to take 3 days. But then, you go off and you just keep trying to learn here and there. But if you take 3 days and you immerse yourself, you take the time off, or you watch the replays, you just immerse yourself, and you watch 30 different people teaching you how they do it, and they're the top people, so they've made all the mistake. Then what happens is it rubs off on you. I was out painting the other day. I had a problem. I couldn't figure out how to solve that problem. And then my brain went, oh, remember you saw this on, I don't remember which one it was, Realism Live or something. And it was like, ding, problem solved. So we're inputting the information. You got to pull it out again. You got to use it. You got to practice. But practice is fun anyway. So we would love to have you come to our newest event, Acrylic Live. And we are giving you today, from the moment we stop today, 1 hour to be able to get all the bonuses. And there's like, I don't remember how many, $1,800 worth of bonuses and stuff like that. And we're giving you 50% off today only, the next 24 hours. And the only reason we extended it 24 hours is because we've got a big audience watching from the UK, because we did an email blast in the UK as well as in the USA. And so we want to give you guys plenty of time to come. But Acrylic Live is going to be magnificent. And I get to host it along with Charlie Easton. And we're going to have, Charlie Easton, by the way, is from the UK. So we're going to have a lot of fun, and we hope you'll join us. Thank you. And thanks for giving us the opportunity to serve you. We love you guys. God bless you. Have a really, really terrific rest of the day or evening. I'm Eric Rhoads. Bye-bye.